What's going on, guys? It's your boy, the Doc here. Back with another great interview. Got a great individual on. This guy here I've been knowing for a very, very long time. You may have seen us do content together, maybe talking about Gilbert, Gilbert Arenas to, talking about jerseys to everything, man. We talk about all collectibles. And not only that, my guy has his own. Your platform has came a long way. I want to introduce this guy by Paul, but we probably know him better as the hobby hype now. So this is different. Rebranding to who you are. Let the people know. Let the people know a little bit further who you are and what you represent, my man.
Yeah, no. So I started the Card Dome back in 2022. I
Mm.
was very much interested in having the card community have a platform that was more mainstream, and I created the Card Dome. That's when it was born. Between news and hobby happenings, I did all that kind of stuff. So that was really interesting and fun. And then I took a break in doing so and focused on personal content, which I still do, and exploring other industries and other things as well. And then I said, you know what, we got to bring it back. But this time, all types of collectibles because I saw how good it was to highlight different collectibles and how different collectible niches are pretty cool. So we rebranded, same exact page. So the Card Dome has turned into the Hobby Hype. So it's all things that you
Mm.
collect and everything that you collect. So yeah, pretty
I
good stuff.
love that.
Yeah.
No, first off, rebranding is dope. It's giving me a different vibe because I know we talked about this in the past and being able to. The biggest thing is be able to be relatable to a lot of people.
Hmm.
We definitely don't want to pinpoint ourselves in one box. We want to be able to be as open as possible and be able to talk about whatever we want. So I think for this rebrand for you has now put you in a stratosphere of not just only cars, but we're talking about everything in the hobby now.
Right.
And the cars, I mean, we both love, but for you and with this rebrand, like, what was the mindset of being able to get to this point? And then I'm gonna dial back a little bit about getting to this point, but I want to get that out the way first.
Yeah, so what made me go to this point as far as, doing all collectibles is pretty much because I saw where the hobby was going and I didn't see a lot of content, expansion. I think that there's a lot of great creators out there, but I think there's only so much you can do. And I wanted to not put myself, like stretch myself thin, but I think also I wanted to make it so it was entertaining for all different niches because I saw other people come in, right? It was mainly sports
Yep.
cards, and so I was like, okay, why not Pokemon cards? Why not like sneakers and streetwear and things of that nature? And the rebrand also took an effect on like how I was making content. It was a one man show making all breaking news, and everybody that you see doing content right now that I used to do, and still to in a way do. They have teams
Hmm.
of people. They have a whole marketing department. So having one person do all the breaking news and staying up to date while also having a life with work and university, it was a little bit tough. So I said, you know what, we need to shift the focus a little bit and start highlighting things. And also it was also because of the way I saw Instagram shifting, static
Mm.
posts, carousel posts were not the best. Um, I was very much into the reels. I was very fascinated about that, and I saw the reach that it was getting as well, both when I was in front or reposting a video, which I think is really cool. I think having your video highlighted on another page is awesome. I think it gives you
Yes.
great reach. Some people would argue and be like that's unethical and using it for your own game. But I personally think that in a platform like that where, I it's where everybody can watch you and everybody's kind of interested. And for somebody that may not understand the hobby, which I still have that same principle, someone that not understand the hobby or might not, consume hobby content, it's kind of a nice little spot for to start and be like, hey, there's other creators doing this, and here's one page that's pulling all this content in. So I think that that's kind of where that rebrand, that kind of mentality has gotten me to this point.
I love it. Now, I'm glad you expressed that where you at now. Now, I want to take the people back a little bit. If you don't know this guy, we're talking about when I first saw your content, you was doing like birthday shout outs, like these birthday
Yeah.
shout outs with like the stats of these players. I mean, it could be a random day. It's so and so birthday, but these are the best stats that they probably put up in their career, or you maybe give a lifetime career statistics, right? That drew me in when I first started seeing it. This is years ago. I'm like, okay, I like how this dude doing content. This is different. Not only that, we move further and you found yourself more in this space and created, you know, yourself is almost like I feel like as a business, as a household name. So now it's like, wow. And the way you express content, a lot of people don't know. This is one of the few individuals that I reach out to when I thought about media. And when I wanted to break something about myself, instead of me putting it out myself, utilizing my friend as a actual media highlight. You know, your page does amazing numbers. But to also see someone that's doing what I'm doing, which is a good friend, but also to look out for me and to help break some of my most memorable moments for me in the hobby, yo, I couldn't have not paint that picture better myself. But I'm gonna say we really thought about these things. Like, so let's get into some of your like all time reels. Like, all right, you have one reel. I don't know. Is it the Steven Adams? Is it the Steven Adams that's have done the most numbers? I don't know if y'all know, but this guy has done millions on top of millions of views on videos. Can you speak on some of the moments?
So yeah, no, I mean they're repost videos I find on the internet. Again, to kind of
Yeah.
highlight those moments, those fan to athlete moments that we love to see. But
Mm-hmm.
it's actually funny. The Steven Adams video is not even close to the all-time high. Um, our all
Woo!
t
Let's
our
go.
all
Break it down, man. Do you remember some? Because I
I
know
do.
this like
I do remember.
some of these videos are a while ago. So.
I do remember that clip. I think that had 2.1, which was in this case baby numbers
Mm-hmm.
compared to the ones I'm going to talk about. On Christmas morning, I think a year or so ago, not this past
Mm-hmm.
Christmas, but I think last Christmas, posted a video of a kid opening the Charizard, the Rainbow Charizard, right? That did 32 million views, with about 2 million likes, and I think it was something to do with like 6 years in watch time, 18 years in watch time, one of the two numbers.
Mm-hmm.
Which when you see 18 years of watch time as like a stat, that's kind of weird. A Logan Paul video where he got the fake Pokemon card that did, I
Mm-hmm.
believe, 29 million views. Um, some videos of me, right, that have done very well. I made a skit talking about how kids, when you go to the card show and they have all the briefcases of cards, that did,
Yeah.
500K. So it's not so much, the performance is kind of like what do people like to see. And some of the videos I've put out that I thought were gonna do numbers relative to that because they were kind of relative in style of video, they actually didn't do as well as I thought. And I know probably for some people, like, for me, after seeing those numbers, and that's the other thing too, it's you can't get caught up in it because there was a time where I was like, okay, I want 1,000, and then I hit it, and then I wanted 10,000, and then 100,000, a million, and then when I used to have those peaks, and anything under those peaks, I'd be like, oh, that's not good enough, right? You can't have that kind of mentality, and so I'm somebody that's a very big proponent of with time and with content, right? And my content's different than a lot of other people's, right? There's a lot of people that have their faces in front of the camera. I want to do that again with this new rebrand, in a different way though.
Mm-hmm.
I actually had a lot of success with my green screen videos when I went on Facebook, to shout out Sports Card Nonsense. Um, I went on yeah, I went on their Facebook page, and a lot of people put a lot of crazy cool stories um through from somebody putting cards in the washer by accident to a yard sale, like, people pulling a crazy card in the parking lot just one random day on a lunch break. So doing those numbers is pretty cool. And it was actually really interesting when I did a stat line for I researched the stats in the I had because I think somebody posted it was Denny's Cards. Denny's Cards put out a thing
Mhm.
about the stats of the all-time people, right? That had like the most numbers for I think it was 2023 if I'm not mistaken.
Mhm.
Michael Rubin was like second. I had probably 10 times more than, well, I wouldn't say 10 times more, but a lot more than him, right? And I wasn't on the list, and I was a little bit upset. But it's okay. It's okay. Right? That was, and
Mhm.
I don't care too much about the numbers. It's kind of the community that I built. So that's, doing those numbers is very good. So that's where I've been as far as, how I bring in the numbers and how I strategize content and what works for the page.
Yeah, everything is definitely strategized with you. I can definitely agree with that. And also, it a lot of this take time and process. I know there's been plenty of times where me and you have like tried to work on something in the past, and it's like, we're trying to eat. I mean, even you. Let's talk about this, like getting into AI, utilizing AI in certain ways. The way we did the Liz commercial, we was out there when I came out there to Rhode Island, like stuff like that is amazing. I'm gonna be honest. I feel like this. How I feel. I feel like everybody's just starting to catch on a little bit. I feel like, yeah, it was ahead. It's very, very ahead. And not only from the Liz commercial, but I'm talking about times before that and just different type of content and how you actually utilize AI for even post.
Right.
Can you even talk about that on how you've been able to, you know, I guess you can say bring something that's new to people and people still not used to and be able to be functional with that and also bring that into the hobby and what you do. Can you elaborate on that?
Yeah, no, I think that, the utilization of AI is something that I've been very much watching for the past couple of years, especially in its infancy and especially when it became popular. I think with
Right.
content, it's different. You gotta, it's not shouldn't be your crutch. It should be a tool in your toolbox. A lot of people rely solely on AI. I'm somebody that's like, if it's there, it's provided to me. Hey, why not? It's and
Yeah.
using it in an ethical way. I'm not just saying that just to say it. A lot of people will use AI in a good sense. I like you said, I started making the posts with them, and that was when image generation was not that great, right? If I were to
Yeah.
recreate those posts, I could go on Grok, right, on Twitter and recreate all those in a matter of seconds, right?
Wow.
Because because I would have to go through trial and error, right? It would be like, okay, the person doesn't look like the person, right? Or oh, the person, doesn't have like the jersey's not correct or something to that effect. So,
Mhm.
I think especially with the way that content is you know is now, I think what you're going to start seeing is a a utilization that's not so much it's not right in your face. It's not like, okay, I'm going to type in a prompt and then I'm going to get an output and then that's going to be my content and that's it. I think it's going to be the utilization of like how you use it. I mean, I remember talking, not talking, but listening to Gary V about our guy. um, so he talked about, it's going to be like a conversational type piece. It's right, it's not going to be just one prompt and then that's it. It's going to be like, okay, it's going to brainstorm ideas. It's going to be kind of like that little sidekick you have next to you. Be like, hey, what's this work, like how does this work, what will work, what won't work. And I've used it even like with the rebrand, being like, okay, what should I do? Even though I had a bunch of ideas in my head, I said, okay, how do I expand this further, right? How do I make this better as a one man army, right? So, I think that a lot of people should be open to that fact, that technology is happening and it's here, but it shouldn't be something that you rely on um, solely. But I think it's warranted, and it depends on the context. So, but I'm definitely working on a couple projects that utilize that, not for just hobby
Mhm.
hype, but for other pages that I'm currently in the process of working on. So, yeah, I want to see. I'm definitely interested to see how it's going to go for the future.
So the question is, do you have cars for sale? Well, you can co-sign your collection with Pristine Auction. For a limited time, Hobby Talk fans pay no commission for 90 days, and as well, they will add on where you can earn 110% on high value cards. I know, right? Quick payouts, lower fees. It's a win win. Make sure to email sales at pristineauction.com and make sure to mention Hobby Talk. But also to my buyers, don't forget to utilize the code Hobby Talk to get $25 off your first win. Love that, man. I think people need to hop on that type of wave. If I mean, I feel like it's the future. It makes jobs easier. I'm gonna be honest with you. I've seen companies utilize AI for posts, just even to come up with a caption. You ask, Chat GBT, hey, can you create me a caption about boom, 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 boom?
Mm,
You express it how it's supposed to be broken down,
right.
and I've seen it give different variations of a context of like, okay, this might be best. I want something charismatic. I want something that sounds authentic. So when you look at that, I think I think people shouldn't look at it as a bad way, and also I think people should look at it shouldn't look at it as like a crutch either.
Mm,
It can help benefit your situation if you know how to utilize it right, but don't depend on it. You're the creator,
right.
not the AI is the creator. AI is a tool. So
Yeah.
I think people need to realize that when they get lost in the sauce. So I love how you break that down as a creator, man. Well said. Now I'm gonna get into Rhode Island. That's where you from. Um, how is the collectible scene out there? We talked about this a few times, and it's like I love how you got Ant. Ant Man got his thing going on. Was it, I believe where he has the shoes, not what I'm saying. Where you talking about kicks and I seen you actually be at that show beforehand. So not just even talking about sports cars, but you talking about sneakers. How is the whole collectible scene out there in Rhode Island?
It's a small state, so it's
Mm-hmm.
you have the ratio and the percentages of people that are collectors. As far as the hobby is concerned, it's small. We have a lot of small shows over here. We don't have many big shows. We have a couple. One you've been to, Crown Jewel. Um,
Yep.
and it's tough because it's not like a Dallas or it's not like a California, or a Florida where a lot of those things happen, or Philly, or New York. So I think that if more people, and it depends on no matter where you are from, make like a community where you're at. And I think especially in Rhode Island, it's a little bit different because we have so many people and we're like so connected and we want like we see what's happening, right? And I've seen what's happening too across the country. And there's a lot of great innovation, and it's alive, it's happening. I will say,
Right.
within the last year or so, it's been a little bit on the there's been a decline, I would say, in the hobby just in general. Um, but I think that the strength and just kind of, having people that are into the same thing and like really harnessing, being like, hey, this is the hobby. This is like something that we love. We love to collect. We love to buy, sell, trade at shows. I think there's a lot of people
Right.
that really like that. And I think, you know, there should be, I think the Northeast in general, Massachusetts probably being the only place that has like the bigger shows, and Connecticut a little bit. But Vermont, New Hampshire, Maine, it's tough, So I want there to be some like Northeast stuff happening. There's not a lot. If you go on Sports Collectors Digest, you might see some smaller shows and some smaller venues. Aside from the bigger shows, I think the biggest show in New England, if I'm not mistaken, is maybe the Fenway show, or the most popularized show is the Fenway show. Um,
Yeah.
and the guys at Card Vault, they do a lot of really big stuff. And again, but it's Massachusetts, and a lot of people travel from all over to do it. So that's kind of like where where the Rhode Island transplant goes. It goes up to Massachusetts for that. But I think the Northeast in general, in New England, it's a little bit on the tougher side. So I think with time, people will start realizing that there's a lot of collectors up here. There's a lot of collectors up here, trust me. And I think there are some people that are starting and have been working on building the scene, especially in Rhode Island. But I think that the scene needs to get a little bit bigger and better and more diversified. A lot of new stuff, a lot of Pokemon, right? But vintage, cannot count out vintage. There's a big vintage contingency up in the state, right? And I think everywhere, but I think you don't have the bigger venues and bigger shows to do it. So, in a place like Rhode Island, it's a little bit tougher. But I'm open to be proven wrong. So if somebody is watching and they're from Rhode Island, please reach out because I love to talk and see what you have in mind. I know some people already, but always down to hear new people.
Nah, you're right. I mean, I can say a few people off the top of my mind would be um Slab Strong.
Yep.
I got Slab Strong definitely from Rhode Island. You spoke on Denny earlier.
Hmm.
If I'm not mistaken, I think Denny from Rhode Island.
I don't know if he's from Rhode Island.
I think he's. I think so. I think we had the conversation. I think he's from there as well. There's some definitely dope names in the hobby that I think when you're talking about Rhode Island, I think y'all diamond in the rough. That's why I call it.
Mm,
Um, I've been calling it that for a while. It's just that diamond in the rough. You could
yeah.
go over there and you see the community, um, especially with what the Crown Jewel was doing. You seen the community come out. You seen these vendors come out in the area, and you expect to maybe at least have more shows
Yeah.
in the area
Mm,
just alone, not just one or two that you heard from, but several. So I know it's not easy to try to put a show together, but at the same time I think Rhode Island, once again, it's just that diamond in the rough. So
yeah.
well said from you on breaking that down, man,
Yeah.
for real. um Last but not least, man, I want to let the people know, first off, y'all need to tune in with my guy. He is rebranding. The Hobby Hype. The Hobby Hype, baby. It's a whole new rebrand for my guy. I'm excited about this. I want to see what this future entails, but I want you to let the people know where they can find you. What social media networks are you on? Feel free.
Yeah, no, so the hobby hype, that's where what the cards are at. But like we said in the beginning, taking time away was a good way to reflect and to see what was going on, and kind of break things down. So, with my social media, with working in social media and doing stuff like that, um, expanding to having, helping people out with their social media for their business. So if you're somebody out there that needs help with their business as far as on the social, Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, X, just building, feel free. I know a lot of people that are probably watching this already have it, but maybe, navigating and growth. I feel free to message me. Either at the Hobby Hype or my personal page, the Paul Paz, ThePaulPaz. No spaces, no underscores, no whatever, no dots. You can find me on there. It's the rebrand is definitely necessary. But and I'm doing it slowly. We're not just going guns a blazing, setting expectations that we can't meet or I can't meet. And also having lighting a fire back into it, right? You're not gonna just start right away and just expect all the numbers. And I wanted to see how that worked. And to my surprise, numbers are doing fantastic. Sticking to more reels. You're probably going to see more reels out of me. If you have
Yeah.
clips of you pulling something or breaking something or whatever, feel free to send them. DMs are always open. They'll be reposted. and everything. But like I said in the beginning, reposts and reels and is or reels in general. That's kind of the move on Instagram. And a little tidbit for the people at home. Um, as far as Instagram, they're pushing a lot more reels than they are pushing static posts. I know it's not like 2012 Instagram or whenever it came out, 2013, where it was all your photography, but reels are here to stay, and short form video content. So that's happening. So you're going to see a lot of that from me in the future. And yeah, no, so I think that's pretty much it. Message me whenever. Any brands out there that's willing to work, feel free to hit me up at it as well. Open to hearing what you have to say, and you'll see some of me too as time goes on. So this isn't the last you'll see of my face.
That's what I love to hear. Hey, you you let the people know, and hey, you build it, they shall come,
Exactly.
right?
Exactly.
So, yo, I'm excited about this new journey, man, and not only that, I want to continue to work with you more in the future. You know, you like
100%.
my brother, man. A lot of people don't know we kind of found. I felt like we found ourselves coming up.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of times when I wasn't talking to a lot of people, you was one of the few people I was talking to on a daily
Right.
basis.
Yep.
Uh, Ideas, etc. So, yo, I'm giving you kudos on just being a good friend to me, man. And not only that, being the creative that you are. You helped me even blossom to the person that I am, man. So just giving you your flowers. I learned a lot of new things from you, and I hope people learn something new from this interview. Um, if if you haven't got a chance yet, make sure you check out my boy. If you already tuned in, please support. And not only that, make sure to continue to check out Pristine Auction and what they got going on. Make sure to check out, Hobby Talk. We got more interviews on the way. This has been a great season so far, and I hope y'all continue to tune in with us. Hey, my guy Paul, the Hobby Hype, new brand. Thank you for being on with me, brother.
Yeah. Thank you for having me, man.
My guy. Hey, we'll be back soon, man. See ya. All right. Appreciate y'all tuning in for this episode. I hope y'all learned something different on the aspect of just the creator and how the creator has became businessman to trying to create their own in the hobby. Shout out to all the content creators that are doing it. And once again, make sure to check out Hobby Talk. Y'all already know what's going on. We doing great interviews over here. And Pristine Auction, y'all know what's up. Let's get it.